I wanted to step away from my table for a minute, and so I was kind of walking around, and on the stage there was an idol group performing, and I was like, that's really cool.
Okay, hi clown. Welcome to the meetup spot.
Hello, it's great to meet you officially.
Look here, Lisa. Looking stunning.
Thank you.
So I guess yeah. So I guess I guess the sun's out in Oklahoma.
I am actually in Kansas, but
Oh,
yeah, it's still light here. I'm sure the sun will go down over the course of our interview though.
okay. All right. So here we go. Clown, tell me about yourself and your growing up story.
Oh wow, where to start? Okay, so I am currently I do a lot of things. Me as clown, I am an idol performer. Um, Growing up, I would say probably the one of the biggest things that led me to do this is that I grew up in my grandparents' house. They didn't live in it while we lived there, but I grew up in my grandparents' house, and all of the toys that I grew up with and all of the like TV shows that I grew up with and things were the things that my dad grew up with. So a lot of my like frame of reference for what influenced me as a child is stuff from the previous generation. I moved around a lot since then, and uh, kind of went back and forth from like public school to schooling myself. I have seven
Oh,
siblings, um, so just going through like textbooks and like online curriculum by myself. So I went kind of back and forth between that and public school, and then um, my college degree is in illustration, which I still use. And it's not really related to performing, but I also did a lot of performance art in college because I build puppets. Um, and so my puppet building and theater experience, combined with my illustration, kind of led me to this.
interesting. So all these came from your grandparents and
Yeah, I would say that like a lot of my artistic influences are things like Raggedy Ann and like the Peanuts and um, just like things like that I guess are typically associated with people who are like more middle aged versus someone my age. So my artistic influences tend to be a little bit older.
Mhm. You mentioned about doing performance art in college. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I went to a really, really small college, not in Kansas. It was actually in Virginia.
Oh,
And it's really, really small. It's about the size of a high school. Um, and so even though I was in the illustration department for my major, um, because I was interested in puppetry, I also was very much in the theater department, even though I wasn't taking any theater classes, like directing puppetry, and I played a couple of puppet characters. I puppeteered them on stage. And then that kind of led me into like musical theater. Because I was doing puppets, I ended up doing puppets for Cinderella, the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, and for I did a song from Avenue Q for a musical review. Um, so that kind of was my entry into the world of like performing music on stage. And then the music department started asking me to do puppets for their stuff. And so I ended up taking some classes in the music department as well. And so it all just kind of like, even though I was in the illustration major, because my school was so small, it allowed me to um, really get into other art forms as well, which is really nice because I think at a bigger school, the other art departments would have been more competitive. So it would be hard to do theater like as someone who's not a theater major, you know?
hmm. That must that must be interesting. I believe that musical theater just seeped in to the idol culture you do now.
Yeah,
Your
so
persona.
yeah, so my I guess my idol backstory is I was doing an artist alley table at a convention, and a lot of like idol performances in the United States are at conventions, just because it's the kind of like fan culture space that is open to them, and would attract that type of performer. And I wanted to step away from my table for a minute, and so I was kind of walking around, and on the stage there was an idol group performing, and I was like, "That's really cool."
Oh.
So I started doing that, and because I also have like this puppetry and musical theater experience, and this interest in like clowning and like children's media and like all that stuff, they just kind of like merged. And so now I do idols, but it's also all of these other things as well.
Hmm. Nice. And so conventions table. Was it the what were you doing then before the idol culture? You mentioned a convention and a table.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, my college degree is in illustration. I'm actually primarily an illustrator. And so I had an artist alley booth where I was selling like prints and like stickers and like buttons and all that kind of
Ooh.
stuff.
That's nice and that's nice. Um, why do you do what you do?
I just love it. But I would say actually it's mostly the community that keeps me going because within idle spaces, the just like the sense of community is very strong. Something that's unique about idol culture is that they don't expect you to be perfect right away. And in fact, part of the appeal is watching a performer as they learn and grow over time. And so the community is very welcoming to new people and to people with less experience. And it's just overall, I would say it's a very friendly and open space full of very passionate and dedicated people. And that's honestly what keeps me coming back is as much as I love the performance and I love the opportunity to express myself through this art form, it is ultimately the people and the culture that keeps me coming back to this space because it's just so it's so encouraging.
I'm glad you found your people.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So let's see. So as I mentioned, all the children's media. So how did your exposure how how did all this whole idol thing started? You mentioned children's media.
Yeah. So like specifically with how me getting started with like idol stuff started was that I saw that group performing at the convention,
Hmm.
and I was really interested in what they were doing because I hadn't really
Oh.
seen anything quite like it before. It's a very unique style of performance. You're singing and dancing on stage, and then there's a lot of audience interaction, a lot of emphasis on stage presence, and that was really interesting to me. So um, I started keeping up with this group, and then from there, I also got introduced to a lot of other like events that I went to and a lot of other performers. And eventually I decided that I wanted to do it myself. But I had to figure out what kind of idol I wanted to be because something about idols in the United States specifically is that a lot of them are very like concept focused. And by that I mean, like you will pick a theme, I guess, and kind of create a persona around it. And so I was thinking, what's something that feels authentic to me that's not going to feel restrictive, but also is easy to create a clear brand around? And for me, that is the children's media that I grew up with, something that I love specifically about like Raggedy Ann and Andy, which is one of my biggest inspirations for my idol persona, is that there's a big emphasis on adventure and imagination, and kind of with that imagination, I it's not restrictive because I can do anything that I could imagine, you know? And so that was an important factor for me, but it also just kind of feels like home to be able to be playful and silly and like engage with nostalgia in that way.
And based on what I'm seeing on Instagram, I love the imagination and all the creativity you put in your character in there.
Thank you so much. I really
It's
try.
awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. So Clown, how did you create your story behind your idol persona? I mean, you mentioned that you're a ragdoll that came alive. How did you make that story?
I honestly don't remember how I came
Oh,
up with it. It just kind of felt right, I guess. I wanted to give this character who is, I guess like they're me to a certain extent, but I wanted to give this character kind of a world and a home to be in. And from there, I was wondering, well, if I am a ragdoll, why am I doing what I do? Um, and I also wanted to relate it to why I do what I do in real life, which is, I'm inspired by the connection and the love of the people around me. And so it kind of felt right to have my character, a ragdoll, be brought to life by the power of play and just like the passion that other people have is what keeps the ragdoll alive, just like it's what keeps me performing.
that's touching. That's There's a lot in it. I love that. And how did you come to know that being an idol is the right place for you?
I think when I started out, I wasn't so sure.
Oh,
I wasn't confident yet, and it's very clear if you go back and watch my older videos that I wasn't very confident. And
that's okay.
um, I think what's really helped me is just like continuing to put myself in that space, and then watching my own improvement. Sometimes I look back and I'm just like astonished at how far I've come. Um, like it's really shocking to me to watch my videos from 1 year ago and see how much different I am as a performer and how much I've grown into myself. And also something that has been helpful is I also organize events because I want to give a space for other idols to perform as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so creating those events and kind of building that community has also helped.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you kept on going no matter what.
Thank you.
Okay. Where and when was your first performance, and what was going through your mind when you first performed?
So I actually did not perform live
Oh,
for my first year because I was at college and I didn't have a car. So
oh,
I wasn't able to get to performances. So I was just kind of making online videos they're called like online idol fests, and it's just
oh.
where the organizer will put like videos back to back, and I would submit things to that. But the first time that I performed live was at Kansas City Idol Fest 2024. And the theme was Midnight Melodies because sometimes they have a theme.
Oh,
And I was so scared.
oh,
I was so scared. There's so many like amazing performers in Kansas City, and I was there with all of them. Um, and I had crazy imposter syndrome. I still do sometimes.
Oh,
Um, but I did it anyway, and I just like the relief that came after, and the joy and the adrenaline, and seeing people's light stakes in the crowd that were like, because if you go to an idol event, people are gonna have they're called pen lights. They're just like a it's kind of like a mini lightsaber. And
oh,
they can be in different colors, and you use it to cheer on the performers. And so
oh.
seeing people's light sticks in the crowd, in my colors, was just like really incredible. And then people came up to me after, and they were like, "I was so excited to see you perform because I've been following you online," and I was shocked that anyone even recognized me. um, and so I was really scared, but it was worth it.
Okay, so that's awesome. That's awesome. So take me through the process of creating a performance.
Yeah, so typically what I will do is it kind of depends the event that I'm at. So if I am it, okay, wait, let me restart. So it
That's okay.
depends
That's okay. Take your time.
it kind of depends the event that I'm at because I try to tailor it to the audience a little bit. Um, because sometimes my audience is going to be more familiar with idol culture, and sometimes they won't be as familiar with idol culture. And sometimes my performance length is shorter, and sometimes it's longer. Um, and so I kind of have to mold it around those variables. But um, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just be listening to music, and I'll listen to a song, and a
Oh,
story will come into my head. Um, and
oh,
then what I do is I will find other songs that I like that I want to perform that fit into that story and expand the story. Um, it's kind of like making a jukebox musical in a way.
yeah, definitely.
Um, and so I'll just like put those all in a playlist. Um, and then from there, I'll like submit it to an event, and I'll say, hey, I want to be at this event. Here's what I plan on doing. And then if they get back to me and they say yes, then I end up going, and and then I'll perform that show, um, with the songs, and then like it'll be a little segment of story to kind of tie it together, and then it'll be like another song. um, so I guess the two things that are most important for me to consider are, number one, what's the story, what song is inspiring me, and how can I expand on that, and number two, what's the event, and how can I make sure that this story is going to be right for it.
Hmm. So I guess set list before so I guess set list before before the story for you, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, it usually is set list before story, or at the very least, set list at the same time as story. Sometimes,
Oh.
sometimes I'm developing them at the same time, but sometimes I have a set of songs, and then I just will make weave a story into it.
Mm. So what set list inspired you to do a night for a day? You did that you wielded that balloon sword.
Oh yes, I really like the show Revolutionary Girl Utena. It's
Oh.
my favorite show ever. And I really wanted to be a knight. Um,
Ah.
so I took the theme song for that show, and I did Fairy Tale by Phoebe, who's actually my favorite idol ever. I love her so much. Um, and I did Imaginary Love Story, which was is by Cynthion. And those were like, originally I just had the Revolutionary Girl Utena theme song, and then I found those other two songs, and they fit the theme, so I put them in. And then I kind of built the story. Um, I think that answers the question.
I guess so. So being a knight. So that show you mentioned, it's all about knights.
Yeah, so Night for a Day is about my character, Clown, and he's a ragdoll, and he decides that there's this other character. Her name is Melody, the Music Box Princess, and she's in a music box. So you open the music box, and she's like one of those little dolls that spins
Yep.
around. Um, and he decides, well, she's trapped in the box and I need to go save her. So it's kind of a play on that, like the damsel in distress and the knight's gonna go save her.
Oh,
It doesn't end up going very well
oh,
because she can
yeah.
get out of the box on her own, and Clown does not realize that until the very end. But that's kind of the story is that he's going to save her because he thinks she's trapped in the box.
Oh, well, good. Love the surprise at the end. And what lessons do you give for yeah for every performance you do?
Um, I would say like
Really go.
as far as my message to other performers, I would say you are going to mess up, and that's okay. You are going to not be very good at first, and that's okay. And you have to keep going. And honestly, nobody's gonna think as much about your own um, blunders as you are. Like nobody, nobody really cares if you mess up, as long as you keep going and keep smiling and keep pushing forward. And so that's, I guess, the number one thing that I would say.
Hmm, nice, nice. And was it tough at first to practice the Japanese lyrics?
It was actually, when I first started singing songs in Japanese, I didn't really like. I would read the romaji because I can't read like kanji or like Japanese text. So I would read the like the romanized lyrics,
Ah,
and I would listen to the song over and over and over and over again and like read them, just to make sure like my pronunciation was right and that I was like putting emphasis on the right syllables. Um, but now that I've done it a few times, it's a lot easier for me to pick it up quickly, just because I'm more used to like how to pronounce certain words and like making sure that I am timing things correctly and um, so it was very hard at first, but I wanted to make sure I was doing it right, and now it's a lot easier.
hmm, nice. And where in these days, where do you get your costumes and props for your performances?
I make them. I make
Ah,
them.
that's pretty cool.
I have trouble sewing sometimes. My sewing machine is not very nice to me, but I think that's normal, if you ask anybody who sews. Um, but I really like to design my own stuff. And that means if I want to design it, I have to make it. My night costume was sewn out of a an unfinished quilt that I bought from a thrift store. Somebody had started it and then not finished it, and then they donated it to the thrift store. And I went and I was like, I can make something out of this. So I made my night costume out of it because I felt like if a rag doll is going to have armor, it's probably a quilt. Um, and then for my new stage costume, my overalls I made too, but for my new stage
Uh,
costume, I just felt like it was time for a change, and I wanted something that felt a little more authentic. So I sewed that one like completely from scratch. Sometimes I'll start with clothes that I have, and then I will make pieces that go with them and like add on to them. But sometimes, quite often, I make things from scratch.
nice. And I believe you mentioned the Q&A. You always just you don't spend too much. So how do you spend how do you keep being on budget with your costumes or yeah something like that?
Yeah. So a lot of times, if I can, I will get something from a thrift store and alter it. So like I said, I got that unfinished quilt from a thrift store. This is made out of a bed sheet.
Ah,
This is made out of a bed sheet. It's the
ah,
best. And that was also from a thrift store. So just like getting fabric from places like that, there is um, a thrift store specifically for craft supplies in my town that I really love. Um, and then I try to use fabric that I already have in my stash. Um, and generally, it's just a lot of like reduce, reuse, recycle,
hmm,
if I can.
nice, nice. Where okay, okay. You okay? Okay. So let's talk about this idol showcase on Twitch. Called Idol Topsy Turvy. Tell me about it.
Oh, yes. So that was something that I did when I was at school because I wanted to
Oh,
host things, but I didn't have like the ability to go places. um,
oh,
and so I decided I wanted to host an online showcase like the ones that I had been in previously. But something that I also wanted to do is within idle spaces, sometimes what you're allowed to perform can actually be pretty restrictive.
oh,
Um, like they only want you to perform songs that were like either are from an anime or are from a Japanese idol group.
mhm.
Um, and they won't let you do anything outside of that. Which is like, I'm it's okay. Like that, there's nothing wrong with that really. But um, I also find that there are a lot of idols like myself who like to perform other things, and maybe want to perform. Like for me, sometimes I like to do songs from the Muppets, or
Ah,
like for some other idols, they wanted to do um, like Disney Channel music, or like we had someone do um, uh My Chemical Romance, or
what?
um and just like we had someone do ABBA, we had someone do
Wow.
um a Benny and the Ink Machine fan song, I think. um and that's all stuff that like everybody has something that they want to do, and something that's very unique to them that like you're not going to find people performing elsewhere. And I
Uh,
just wanted to give them a space to do like all of those random songs that like maybe they wouldn't be allowed to do at specifically an idol show.
honestly, I like what you're doing. Just taking the Japanese idol culture and put a North American or in this case you mentioned ABBA European twist. I love that, and I love that you're getting to do that with your online idol contest.
Yeah, one thing that's really unique about the Kaigai Idol community, the overseas idol community, is that there are people from every part of the world. You have people from Europe, you have people from South America, North America, anywhere in the world that you can imagine, different parts of Asia, not just Japan. And everyone has their own unique experiences and unique culture and artistic vision that they bring to the table. And I think that that's something that's really special and something that should be embraced, is people taking the things that are personal to them and important to them, and combining it with, the idol culture that we know and love. I think is really beautiful. And it's a very unique thing about such a global community.
Yeah, I see. And how are you able to balance hosting that idol contest in college?
Um, I did it on. I would usually like plan plan it in my head, and then I would film on like on a Sunday morning. When I had all of my work done, I was able to do it. Fortunately, my job in college was that I was an RA. the resident advisor. So most of my job was just like it, I was technically always on the clock, but um, because I was always on the clock, um, it also allowed me to be very flexible with like when I was working and when I was doing my schoolwork and when I was, you know, spending time with my hobbies and doing idle stuff. Um, there were periods when I like wasn't able to do idle stuff, and that was like if I was in a musical or like if I had finals coming up, you know, I would pause. And I actually took like a semester long break for my final semester of college because I just didn't have time to do everything. But I find that I'm generally pretty good at time management, and I was fortunate enough that my employment didn't usually unless something went wrong didn't usually require a whole lot of like dedicated specific time, you know?
Hmm, nice. Right now, it's tough for people these days to find jobs. If they want to go the same path as you, what are the things they can do right now to practice?
Yeah, so I am actually not like fully a professional idol, but I do get some
Oh,
money from it. Um and what I would say is I honestly want to see more professional idols. Um, I would say if people want to make some money and be an idol and do this professionally, I would say definitely get very involved, not just with your idol community locally, but also with your general music community and like performer community in general because idols are so niche. It can sometimes be hard to find an audience locally from that. I'm performing at a Pride event very soon, which I'm very excited about. And, you know, that's a good opportunity to get more people interested in what you're doing and to, um, you know, make some money outside of just like the very small audience of idol fans. So I'd say definitely try to integrate more with your local music community. Sell merch if you can. That's honestly where I make most of my money from for doing idol stuff. Um, and also, unfortunately, as I hate social media, you do have to be active on social media.
oh,
You do have to post consistently. A lot of the reason that my fundraiser for my song has been successful is because I have a pretty big online following and like engage with my community regularly. Um, and like you have to be involved both in your local like music spaces and idol community and the global idol community. And so where that comes in is locally you have to do events and you have to not just do idol events but also do other kinds of events as well if you can. And then also to engage with the global idol community online and make sure that like you're engaging with other people. Honestly, like support goes both ways, and you're posting and building a following that way. So it's kind of a two-part thing.
hmm, that's nice. Nice. And what does the work you do right now mean to you?
A lot of things. It is very special in that it allows me to express myself in a way that would be very hard to do otherwise. Um, I'm not really like so dedicated that I could like be doing other similar things. Like I'm not dedicated enough to making a new costume every day that I could be like a drag king or something.
Oh,
Like like is kind of similar, or not really like I enjoy that this allows me to do something more personal and more expressive than something like musical theater would, because if you're in musical theater, you know, you're sticking to a script. You're playing a character that someone else made up. And so I think it's really special that I get to make it and I get to do what I want. And I think it's really special that I get to like express myself in that way and really be involved in my local community to such an extent that I am, and like running local events and meeting all these people and things like that. Um, so I'm just very happy with um, being able to come up with this idea and share it in the way that I am.
Nice. And I guess that's it for the questions. Are you ready for quick fire? Answer questions quickly in under 90 seconds.
Oh goodness. Yes.
All right, here we go. Here we go, clown. One word to describe yourself.
um,
You can
chaotic.
do it. Oh, chaotic. What is your best performing tip?
Commit to it. Commit to the bit.
Okay. Best artist you love to listen to.
My favorite idol is Phoebe, but I also really like They Might Be Giants.
Oh, one everyday item you can't live without.
My water bottle.
Uh, Mantra in life.
Mantra in life. Also commit to the bit. I think that you got to put it all in. Put all your chips on the table.
Best place in Kansas for a good meal.
Oh, for living?
No, good meal.
Oh, for a good meal. Uh,
Want to
oh
pass?
gosh. Pass.
Okay. Okay.
I'm indecisive.
Okay. One song that uplifts you.
One song that uplifts me. Start Again by Phoebe.
Ah, best lesson you learned in being an idol.
Believe in yourself and kill the imposter syndrome.
Okay. Your biggest inspiration in idol culture.
I may have answered this question already. I really love Phoebe.
Ah, okay. That's all right. All right. Okay. Are you ready for the screenshot? Let's see. Let's see.
Yes, I
Let's take a
am.
screenshot. All right. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Again, thank you, Clown. Are any last thoughts or comments?
Thank you so much for interviewing me. I was very, very excited to see that email in my inbox and honestly very honored to have gotten to a level where people even want to interview me. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you. You're all you. Yeah. Thank you. You are an interesting person. I gotta say.
I definitely think so. Whether that's a positive or a negative thing depends on the audience. But I try to be myself at all times. So
Hmm. And anywhere we can reach you online. It's yeah.
yeah, Instagram is probably the best place. I recently got TikTok again. I'm trying it out. I'm not a big fan of TikTok as a platform, but
Yeah. Me too.
I'm back, I guess. My username on both is circus.party with two Y's.
Hmm. And once your next show?
My next in person show is I'm going to be in Clown Jam on the 30th of this month, and that's at Harvester Arts in Wichita. Um, but I'm not doing like typical idol stuff there. I'm actually just doing a clown skit. If you want to see me do idol stuff in person, you can come to either El Dorado Pride, um, which is on June 6th at 1 p.m., or you can come to Luminous Limelight, which is in Independence, Missouri, which is also on June 6th at 7:30 p.m.
Ah. Okay. Again. Thank you. Again. Thank you for coming, Clown. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too.